before we do the waterfalls, we need to make 2 folder booklets that are going to go into the sleeve pages or the sleeve pockets of these page flaps. So we need one for here, right in there, and we need one for in here. So we're going to make 2 of those. So you need 4 sheets. There's my cut apart. Couldn't remember where I put my cut apart. There we go. You need 4 sheets of black Artisan cardstock, and you're going to cut 2 down to 8 by 8 3/8 and 2 down to 7.5 by 8 3/8. Then we'll take the scoreboard, and we're going to take the biggest piece, which is the 8 by 8 3/8. There's your 8 and 8 3/8. Let's turn. Now we're going to score on the 8-inch side. Sorry, put the 8-inch at the top, and you're going to score just on this one at a 1/2 inch. So you'll do that on the 2 pieces that you've cut, that 8 by 8 3/8. So you'll need 2 of these for each folder. We're making 2 folders. Then you burnish that score line, fold and burnish. The other pieces that we cut, now I've already made 1 folder. That's what this one is. So I've made 1 folder. I'm showing you how to make the second one. Take your piece that is 7.5 wide, right there, set about 8 3/8 tall, and match it up with this piece that has the folding hinge. Now I'm going to put my hinge to the outside so I can cover it with paper. This one's going to go, see, I think like that, but it doesn't matter. I'll cover both sides. So I'm going to take my glue. I'm going to open up this 1/2 inch fold here, and I'm just going to put glue right here on the 1/2 inch, just the 1/2 inch section. I'm going to put this one in to match it up into the fold. Make sure it matches top and bottom, keeping it straight. Fold this over and burnish. I like to use the cloth because it's going to wipe off any of that glue that oozes out. We want to make sure we do that, and then we can burnish really well with the bone folder if you want. So we got that. That's a folder. That makes the folder. Just check it. If there's any place where something's sticking out you don't like, well, you just kind of snip that off with your scissors. So there's your folder. So we're going to pattern one each side, front and back, and then we'll decide on the inside later when I do my decorating. This one I use the back of the fussy cut elements because I'm only going to use the ones that you can punch out. So this is what I have left of that sheet. But I wanted that stripe. I love that stripe. And then I took the sheet with this on the one side. So you do need 2 full sheets of patterned paper to pattern this. So we're going to pattern this one next. So it shows 2 sheets of this print, and I'm going to put the little gingerbread men and candies on the front because of the way it's going in the book. And then the one with the house on the back. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these on. Now if you wanted to double mat these, you could. I'm just trying to conserve my cardstock right now, and so I'm just putting these on with the full pattern mat rather than matting them. But double matting them or triple matting these would be really pretty. And I'll show you why we're putting this print on the front page instead of the back. It has to do with how it's going into the album, and these are what we are going to put our waterfalls on, because then we can take them out of the book and have it on our kitchen counter with our recipe cards in the waterfalls and not have the whole book out if we don't want to. I hope that makes sense. It will when you see it all come together. So there's that pattern. So I'll grab the book. I've already put the other one in to show you where it goes. So here is the front flap with the pocket. So this is going to go in with the house on the back side. So you only see it when it comes out. So that slides in like that. And hopefully I measured it correctly. Oh goodness. There we go. It goes in. And then so we have this on this side, and this is where a waterfall is going to go. And then when you open this flap, we have the stripe on the front with the fresh baked inside. Let me close this up. Fresh baked goes inside. And our waterfall will go right here. So now we are definitely ready to make our waterfall. Two elements which are our main components we need to do for this album. So we'll get right on that. We're going to make two waterfall elements to go inside our album. I've already made one. I will show you how to do the other one, and before we put it in the book. Now I'm going to give you the total count of what you need to cut for both. So if you just want one, then you just cut it in half. So you're going to need two base pocket pages. So you need two that are 7 1/4 by 8 1/4. Then for your flaps, you're going to need 7. For one, you need a total of 14. Sorry, you need a total of 14 of these cut at 6 1/4 by 4 3/4. So what you need is one base for a waterfall and 7 flaps. So multiply that by 2. So we need 2 bases and 14 flaps for this. So I'm going to give you the scoring measurements next. So we're going to make us a base, and instead of just a plain base, we're going to make it into a pocket base. So you have your 8 1/4 up at the top. We're going to score it a 1/2 inch. Turn, score your 7 1/4 at a 1/2 inch. So I did this kind of backwards. So actually, you put your 7 1/4 in first. Sorry about that. Score it a 1/2 inch. Turn to your 8 1/4. Score it a 1/2 inch. It's just easier this way. And then one more turn to your 7 1/4 and score it a 1/2 inch. So what I have here, in case I confused you, is I have 2 1/2 inch scores on my 7 1/4 inch side and one on the 8 1/4. And then we're going to cut out the corners down here at the bottom. Little corners like that. And then I'm going to fold this down and burnish. And I'm going to go ahead and just slightly miter right here to get rid of some of that. And then we'll fold these other ones down, burnish those. So this makes us a pocket base, a top loading pocket base. Okay, and then we're just going to fold this down like this and burnish. And I'm going to take my glue, and I'm just going to put a bit of glue right here in the corner on the bottom. And I'm going to bring this bottom flap up, and I'm going to create a pocket here. So I'm going to burnish this and this one. So now when we put these in our album, the pocket will already be assembled with the waterfall on it. Okay, so there's our base that we're going to be building our waterfall on. Okay, so now we take all 7 of these. They're going to be scored the same, so I'm just going to show you 1 or 2, and then I'm going to speed up the video. All 7 of these are cut at 6 1/4 by 4 3/4. we're going to score the 4 3/4 side at a 1/2 inch on each one. Put your 4 3/4 in at the top and simply score at a 1/2 inch. Make sure you're butting up and getting your scores as even as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and speed up the video now. Next, take all your flaps, fold the score lines, and burnish really well. So we'll have a 1/2 inch attachment on each one. Okay, so we have all those folded and burnished. We're ready to put these onto our base piece. So remember, this is going to be opening from the top, so you want the fold down here at the bottom. I'm going to turn it so that I have my opening to the left side for right now. And I'm going to grab one of these flaps. It's going to fit right in between, right evenly on that platform. Fold of the waterfall flap, first one, goes to the cut end of this one, of the base. So I'm going to put my glue on. And make sure we get this first one on really nice and straight. So the fold goes right along the cut of the top edge. And the fold here goes right up against the fold of the pocket. And we burnish that. Okay, so then you open it up. Take your second one. You're going to put glue on the 1/2 inch attachment. You're going to butt the fold of this one up to the edge of the last waterfall. So there'll be a 1/2 inch gap in between there. Make sure you're lining up down here along the cut edge. Now try to line this one up perfectly. Then if I need to trim something, it'll just be on one side, because we can have mismatch with scoring and cutting. So we want to make sure that one side is at least lined up perfectly, if at all possible. So we do this one right here. Bring this here. And just continue doing that. This is going to give us waterfalls that will hold 4x6 photos or 4x6 recipe cards, if that's what you're making your book to be. You have 2 more to go. Which, if everything came out right, should leave us a 1/2 inch space pretty much down here on the base. So I'm going to close it all up. Reburnishing it all. Now we're going to make a closure piece also for this when we put it into the album. Okay, there it is. Turn it over and look at it. If anything's sticking out, then I would trim some of it off. For the back here, have maybe just a little bit right here. Okay, keeping it nice and straight. Okay, so there's the 2 waterfalls, and I'll get ready to decide what I'm going to pattern paper for that, and we'll get these into the book. we have our waterfall elements done. This one I've already patterned. I did use a slot punch that I have in my stash. I think Country Craft Creations has one in stock. If they do, I will link it down below. I like to use these so that you can just slip your recipe cards in, and each flap is matted on the front. We have a magnetic closure here. So I'm going to show you how to do this with this one on most of it. So for the closure piece, you need you need 3 pieces of cardstock. Use your scraps. For the closure, you need to cut 2 for both of these. So each will take 1. So total for 2 waterfall elements, you need 2 that are 5 by 2 and 4 that are 3 by 4. So now first we need to score this piece. So we're going to take the 5 by 2, we're going to put the 5-inch into our scoreboard, and we're just going to score at a 1/2 inch. This is to attach it into our waterfall element. So go ahead and fold and burnish that. And that's going to attach down here at the bottom where the fold is, where the attachment fold is. And I'm just going to look at it and center that. So my glue is going to go on the inside, just on the 1/2 inch. My glue cleaned off. So glue on that 1/2 inch. And this is going to go on the back side, and it's going to attach to the 1/2 inch flap back here. So I'm just laying it here lightly while I look. Wipe off some of that glue. I got too much on there. I want to center it the best I can. Right here in the front. So the fold is along the bottom, and this extends over this top flap just like that. So I'll flip it over and wipe off any glue and burnish. Okay, so that's that way. Then we're going to take, let's see here, we're going to put our pattern paper on this. So it goes down to the bottom. So I have 2 of these cut. Knocked one down. Cut 2 out of pattern paper for this that are 2 7/8 wide. Let's look. Nope. Oh, you cut 4 total for both elements that are 1 7/8 wide by 4 3/8 tall. And I'm going to glue one right here on this piece. And again, this is the stripe. That's the back of that fussy cut sheet of your tags and elements. But I'm not going to use that. So we line this up right here. And I get my margin down here at the bottom. It's okay if it's flush here at the top, because that's going to be covered up. We flip this down, and we also put one back here. Okay. So we have that. Now then on the front, we're going to mat our cut apart. We have, for the 2 elements, you need 2 cut aparts that are 2 7/8 wide by 3 7/8 tall. And this one I've trimmed down. This one I have not yet. So I'm going to trim it down just a little bit on all 4 sides. And make it 2 7/8 wide by the about 3 7/8 tall. Okay, so then it will fit on this with your black margin all the way around. And your measurement of the cut apart, you may have to adjust that. It just depends on how much margin you want. I may have cut mine down just a little bit more. So we glue this front one on. hot. Okay, so this is going to go right here on this flap here. So I'm just looking to see how I positioned it on the other one. So at about 2 inches below the end of this, so I put glue on this one down to this 2-inch mark. Doesn't have to be perfect, just, you know, you want to make sure it's pretty straight. But I'm going to line that up like that. Okay, burnish that down. So now we're going to need to put our magnet on. And I have an extra one of these cut, so I don't think I need that. Yeah, don't need that double thickness. So next we'll put the magnets on, and I have here my magnets somewhere. Lost them, hang on a second. So I have 2 magnets here, plus and a minus, and I'm going to pull the backing off of one. And I'm going to bring my flip down here, and I'm going to put this in the center about 3/4 of an inch from the edge. And I like to put some Scotch tape on that to secure it. Then I'm going to snap this one on so that my backing is facing up. Pull that backing off. And then we're going to attach this down to the first flap. Pull that up and go ahead and put our tape on. Now this will be covered up by the first layer of the patterned paper. So now all we have to do is we cut a piece of patterned paper. You cut 2 that are 2 7/8 wide by 3 7/8 tall to mat over this magnet piece here. So put my glue on. And some over the magnets, kind of add some extra there. And then layer this just like that. Burnish that down. Make sure you burnish really well around the magnet. So you can see that they're the same pretty much. Okay. And that is the magnet closure for the waterfall piece. Now all we have to do is add our patterned paper. So for 2 waterfall elements, you need 16 pieces of patterned paper that are 6 1/8 wide by 4 1/8 tall, which means you need 8 for each waterfall element. Then you take your slot corner punch that's going to cut slots for your recipe cards. Make sure you put it in so that it's butted up on both sides, and just punch all 4 corners. And I'm going to show you putting one on, and then I'll do the rest off camera. So we have this one. So we open this down. This is going to fit right here over this first flap. Now the glue, I don't put glue on this little skinny. You don't want to hinder any of this. So what I do is I put glue on the edges and just a little bit on the corner. Just kind of touch it a little bit. Glue on the edge. And then I put glue on the center here, but I don't go up into that corner piece there. And then I might want to put extra glue here around this magnet just to get that on there good. And then we fit this on. So this is our first mat of patterned paper here. Burnish that on really good so you get those corners, the tip of the corners on good, but you don't have any gluing down your corners, because you want to be able to slide your cards up underneath there, okay? So I'm just double checking and make sure they're all still ready, available to stick a corner in. Okay, so that's how that one is, and I'm going to add mats to all of these doing the exact same thing, and I'll be right back. So there we have both of our waterfall elements done, and we're ready to put them into the album. I have added this waterfall to this page insert so it comes out. So this is on the front flap page flap, but it's on the insert page here on the inside, just like that. And so we have an opening up here for something that we can tuck in there. And now the second one, if you're looking at your book like this, so this is your main page flap right here. We're going to open this up. You see your pocket here. This is the page flap, the one that's shorter. This is the one that will slide out. So here's where we're going to put this one. We're going to put it right here on this flap. Okay, so you flip it over. You're going to make sure that your glue just goes on the 1/2 inch portions of your flap. Now this one I haven't glued down the corners yet. I'm going to do that. I don't know why I didn't do that on that one. So I'm going to go ahead and get the corners glued because I think it makes it easier to get it on good. So I've got my corners, and I didn't miter them, but that's okay. Okay, here we go. Mitered a little bit. Okay, so now the glue goes along the bottom edge of just that 1/2 inch, and then the sides, because remember this is going to be a pocket if we want to put a big tag in there or something. So now we have the glue. Now I'm going to flip it over carefully, and I'm going to line it up on this flap about 1/4 inch from the bottom, and this looks like about 1/2 inch on the sides, and get it as straight as I can. Right here. Take my cloth. I'm going to burnish this pocket part right here and kind of press everything. Then I'm going to open this up and lift this up. I'm going to burnish right here and on the bottom. And then as you put this down, you're going to burnish here on the corners of each 1/2 inch gusset, because that's where it's touching down in there. Okay, there. And that's just burnishing it and getting it on good and wiping off any excess glue that might ooze out. So I make sure my piece stays on. So there it is on this page insert flap. So it comes all the way out. You can take it out. You can lay it on your kitchen counter. You can have your recipe cards in that. I will be deciding when I decorate what I want to do on the inside, depending how much paper I have left and everything. Decorative elements. So there's that. Now then, the next thing would be to cut some large type tags to go inside these pockets right here. So I need to make sure that's gluing down good. I need a little more glue right there. A little pressure point there. Make sure it is sticking down. So it pops up a little bit. Might need just a little more glue in there, especially on those top corners. You could put some clips on there to help hold that down. Make sure it dries good. There's my lost magnets. Okay, so burnish that and let it dry. So that's pretty much the base of this album. Love how it's turned out. Looking really, really cute and functional. So next I'll make some tags for those waterfall pockets, and then I'll be moving on into decorating. I haven't decided on my closure piece yet for my album. It doesn't actually have to have one, I don't think, unless you just want one. But I was going to put a bow, tie a big ribbon, and then I thought, well, then you're going to have this ribbon in your way if you're cooking, right? So maybe we want something that is functional as far as putting a recipe on the front that we can also take off. So I'll think about that and make some plans and finish that up. But for now, I'm going to make some tags for those waterfall pockets. The final big element that we need to make for this album is our large tags to go inside our waterfall pockets. So I've made one, has the little tab on the top, and I use some of the stitching trim that comes on your branding sheet here. And so I use this pattern on this side and the back side here. And so this would be a great spot for a special recipe, maybe a couple of photos of someone cooking or of your recipe items. And I'm going to show you how to make one of these. So you do make two. You want one for this pocket here. Let me fold this stuff up so it's easier to get to. So it slides right in here into the waterfall pocket, and that little tab just sticks out right there above it, just like that. Thought that turned out really cute. And here on this side, we'll make one. Now, I have been playing with my recipe cards. So here are these that are stuck in the pockets. And I have put some into this waterfall. And I'm going to share with you that my waterfall, if I had made it a little bit bigger, these particular corners that I'm using, I had to trim down my recipe cards, so I'm okay with that. So it'll depend on your slot punch if you have to trim down or not. So I did trim each one of mine. I took the border off. So I made the cards, instead of 6 by 4, they're 5 3/4 by I think 3 3/4. So I cut a 1/4 inch off, or 1/8 of an inch off each end and each side to make them fit. And so I'm happy with that. So you will have to adjust your recipe cards to fit whatever slots you're using if you're doing that. If you don't want to, you can just mat the full recipe card on. Like, let me show you. It would fit completely on there without any trimming. And so you could use it as your mat, actually, for that flap. It would be permanently put down. So that is just an option for you. I wanted to go over that with you. And then one thing I have done real quick was, when I put these in, I thought, well, this space down here needs something. So I took one of the cut aparts, matted it to white, blue, and black, and fussy cut around it, and then I just glued the very bottom edge. This is part of decorating. So now I have an extra recipe card that's stuck right there on the bottom, and I have several that can go in the pockets. So I love how that turned out, and these have not been trimmed down. So there we go. So let me show you how to make your tag here that goes inside your waterfall pockets. Pull this one out so we have it to look at. And I've got everything pre-cut so we can make that really quick. Okay, so you need to make two of these. You need two, I use the Firecracker Red, my colors, cut two that are 6 inches wide by 7 5/8 tall. And then you need your white cardstock. You need 4, because I do front and back. You need 4 that are 5 3/4 wide by 7 1/8 tall. And your pattern paper, you need 4 that are 5 5/8 wide by 7 tall. So let's start with this first. So I did take the envelope punch board to make my tab, and I put it at 2 on this left side and punched, then flipped it over, put the other side at the 2 and punched. So now we have this look. So we've got to cut away. Now you can use your cutting board and a ruler and a knife. I just take my big scissors and I put it in where the slot is, right here. And I just make one big straight cut. And then I'll look at it and adjust it if I need to. So I've never been great with a craft knife and a ruler. I don't know why. So that's the way I do it. And it works out fine for me. Then I take my 1/2 inch punch, corner punch, and punch all the corners, all 4 corners of this tag. It just makes it go in and out better. It's a lot neater. And then you punch your corners on these. You can do, if you're using a Crop-A-Doll, you can do 2 pieces of paper or more at once. Save you some time. Just make sure they're lined up even. Didn't punch all the way through, didn't catch it. There we go. And the last one, I'll just do these since they came apart separately. and the white cardstock. And it's just a matter of gluing these all on. So you would glue your pattern to the white, just if you need to. I may have cut this a little bit long on my pattern, so I'll double check that. Let me see here. Sometimes I get carried away. I think we need to trim just a little bit off mine. I don't know if I gave you the wrong measurements. Let's see, it's supposed to be 7 inches tall. Let's see if I cut it wrong. Yeah, I didn't cut it quite right. That would be the reason. 7 inches is what we need. Then re-punch these corners. Okay, they should fit better now. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I'll glue it all together, and then I will show you how to do the little decorative piece. So I glued all the mats together, glued this pattern on this side and this one on the back side. So it's kind of like reversible, just like this one. And now I want that little bit of stitch trim. And so what I did is I just took my little tab here and I lined up the edge of it onto the edge of the pattern paper where it's at. Just kind of held it up in the air so I can use my scissors. Lined it up. And I just cut this right along that edge because I'm going to trim it down some more. Make sure hold it straight and clip that one off. Then I took it and then I cut along the black edge here to cut that little decorative tab piece out. It's not totally perfect, but I'm fine with it. Then from the inside, I went in just a little bit and rounded the corner with my scissors. And then I take it and I just glue it right there. And then I will do the same on the back side. Whoops, if I can pick it up. Stick into my mat. So I will do the same to the other side, make another little piece just like this off camera, and then these will be finished and we'll put them in the book. So once you position them where you want them, just like that, I'll wipe off any excess glue. Turns out really cute like that. Just a little stitching there, a little decorative. So I'll do the other side and then I'll put them in the book. Okay, so there they are. Both of them are made. 2 big tags, and they go inside here. So whichever one you want to put in. I think I kind of like the red one here. Going in with that red. Just slides it right in. Could be a little snug. Let me see. This one may be too tight for this one. Let me see. I think I cut it right. You got to put it in straight. Okay, there we go. So it does fit right there. Open this one up, and this one goes in here. So I said these are the last components that we need to, elements we need to make for this, but we do need to make just the closure for the album. And then after I do that, then I will be finishing up decorating and adding in my recipe cards, which I will do off camera and then show you that in the walkthrough. So next we're going to make the closure, and I definitely want a wraparound kind. I wanted the bow and then decided no because it's in the kitchen. I don't want a ribbon and bows loose that I untie. You know, if you want a ribbon closure, that's great. You would just wrap it around, use a cut apart or something here on the back to hold it down. But I'm going to make a cardstock matted type magnetic one. I think could do a slide on one, but I think I want the magnet one, and we'll make that, and then I will finish up with all the decorating.